Konami Studios.
Wonder Woman 1984, or as it's just kind of called throughout the entirety of the movie, WW84. They don't really say Wonder Woman at all in this movie. They actually don't call her Wonder Woman. Weird. What a weird choice to make. But this movie, it was delayed a long time. It was the last big movie to come out this year. HBO Max. Everywhere you watch your movies, you can watch them here and in theaters. And so far, it seems like it's been working for the studio. It's a pretty good movie. It's far from perfect. And I know a lot of people in this industry, they especially the fans, they're always just like, you either love it or you hate it. You can't have anything in between. But I'll tell you, like, this is a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I don't put it in my top 10 superhero movies. I don't even think it's as good as the first one, but I think what this movie did and what it was trying to present in the narrative that it was telling, it succeeded in. Like, it wasn't trying to be an over-the-top anything. It was just saying, like, this is the 80s. We're telling an 80s movie. It's going to go out and it's going to play out like an 80s movie if it had the technology of a movie from today. And that's what it did, and I think it did a good job at that. From the get-go, from the opening scene of this movie, there are two things I think that were heavily influences for this movie. The first one is Richard Donner's Superman. You could tell from the get-go that was a big deal for this. Like, obviously Patty Jenkins went in wanting to make a classic like that, and she succeeded. And I think the other one too was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Love it or hate it, I do think there are some similarities between 84 and the Sam Raimi trilogy. It's just that campy, schlucky feel that's kind of like flimsy and loose, where we're swinging around, we're having fun, everything's bright, and it feels like a comic book. That's a good thing to do. Like, we need more of that. I think we are coming back around in our era of superhero stuff where we're trying to be like, yeah, we're willing to go to these more crazy places. You know, it started with Richard Donner, Sam Raimi did it. We're kind of getting back there. Taika Waititi and James Gunn have been good at doing that, but now Patty Jenkins is like, I'm going to literally make a Superman the movie in 2020 with a character who is as timeless as the Man of Steel himself, and that's pretty impressive to do. I really like that aspect of it. Now, don't go into this thinking the plot's going to be really intense. Like, the first movie is a gritty war movie. It's about the harshness of war, and how can one woman deal with that consequence, and how can she save man's world? This movie's not that. This movie's like it's a cheap, I don't want to say Donald Trump type, but it's pretty much a Donald Trump type character in Maxwell Lord trying to take over the world through broadcasting systems in a magic rock. That is pretty much a Lex Luthor thing to do, especially from the golden age of comic books when Lex Luthor would do that. Works for me. You want to tell that kind of movie? Do it. It feels like an 80s movie. That's not a complaint at all. If you're going to try to set a movie in the 80s, make it feel like one too. That's exactly what it is. That's the whole plot. Maxwell Lord wants to take over the world. He's going to do it through broadcasting and a magic stone that grants wishes. Does that sound like Shazam? It should, because it's like that got that kind of feel, same as Shazam. And Shazam's a really good movie, so I'm on board for that. You want to do more of that? Do it. Go crazy with it. Like, it really worked. The visuals are great. The cinematography and directing, I think, are incredible, especially for this franchise. Because come on, the DCEU is all over the place. This one looked bright and hopeful. It didn't leave anything left to be seen. Everything it was trying to say was said. It didn't leave you going like, this is a little dark or weird. You're like, oh, this is bright and hopeful and positive and light, and everything about that worked really well. Like I said, the directing, Patty Jenkins really shined here. She really showed what she wanted to do as a creative type, and we saw that, and it really, really worked. I like her a lot. I mean, I've always liked all of her movies, but like this one, I'm like, yeah, go for it, girl. Go crazy. Have fun with it. Like, enjoy yourself. Don't try to do anything you're not trying to do. You know, if you're having fun, show yourself having fun. Make your characters have fun. Tell a really schlucky story. You got Pedro Pascal acting his ass off. Have fun with that. Do something cool with it. I will say, too, this is, I would argue, the best interpretation of the Maxwell Lord character. I'm not a big Maxwell Lord guy. You guys know, if you've been keeping up with my Wonder Woman reviews of the recent comic book, you know I'm not a Maxwell Lord guy. They make him likable. They actually do something interesting with that character that I was really impressed with. Now, my biggest kind of complaint, it's not even a complaint really, is that Kristen Wiig's Cheetah really has no impact on the story. I understand the idea of wanting to be like Diana, and that's kind of like her whole story. It's like, I wish I was like Diana, and how that can delude your mind. It didn't leave a memorable impact. It didn't have that feeling of something like Black Manta did in Aquaman. It didn't have that feeling of Savant even in Shazam. It was just like, oh, okay. you're a crazy lady who's becoming tough now. Cool. Like, we've seen that with like Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We've seen it plenty of times before. It's nothing special or interesting, you know? And it looked okay. I actually don't have any complaints about the way the cheetah looked, other than I wish it looked more like a cheetah, which we'll probably never do, because for some reason they pick weird times to like go crazy. Like, why are we getting Weasel in the Suicide Squad, but we're not getting like a cheetah-looking cheetah in Wonder Woman? That's weird, right? That seemed weird to me. But I think the part that really bugged me about it is you get Kristen Wiig, who is a good actress. I won't say she's phenomenal or outstanding. She didn't leave a memorable performance. Now, I think a different actress could have actually done something really cool in this role and actually turned into something I care about. But Kristen Wiig, it seemed like she was told what to do, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about that at all. Some actors need to be told what to do, instead of like someone like Pedro, who's like, oh yeah, crazy 80s guy who's like slick and gross and nobody wants to be around him. He's trying to do this all for his son and he's slowly losing his mind. Yeah, like that is something that's interesting, as opposed to Cheeto, where it's like, I get it, like this isn't special or unique, you're just doing a character here, and there's nothing wrong with just doing a character. Everyone's got to do their shit, you know. It works for the most part. They bring Steve Trevor back in a weird way. Now, I don't want to get too much into like the ethics of how they bring him back, because that's a whole other discussion. I will say, I don't love it. I understand it story-wise, why it had to happen that way. I don't love how they brought him back. It worked for me in the sense that I'm like, yeah, this is the only way you could, I suppose, do it. But you're left wondering, this is kind of awkward and it doesn't have a lasting impact. There's a big heart in this story, and the heart of this story actually comes from, I think, the relationship between Diana and Steve, and that is like the driving force to why this actually worked. I think their chemistry really sold Gal's acting, because Gal's not a great actress. Chris Pine's a good actor. The best Chris in Hollywood. I said Chris Pratt because I'm looking at a picture of Star-Lord. Chris Pine is a great actor. Gal Gadot, she's okay. But seeing their relationship, I think, really helped her fill out those more sensible moments where she felt like a real person. I think one of the things I really enjoyed about this throughout, actually, was the sense that though Wonder Woman isn't a known name in this universe during this time, she still is really pleasant, and she's still really nice to the people around her in the world. Like, she doesn't have like that same affinity she does towards humanity itself like she does with Steve Trevor, but she's really nice. You know, she's smiling with the kids, she's being nice, she's like making some jokes here, she's winking, she's giving the thumbs up and all that. That's really cool to see, because that's a really positive Richard Donner thing to do, that like, these heroes are fun and cute. Show them being fun and cute, because people like that. That's what we should do. And come towards the end of the movie, when their relationship actually gets put to the limits, and seeing how can Diana move on from having Steve Trevor not in her life anymore. I think there is some really good acting there from Gal, and she sold it really well. Like, it did pretty good doing a lot of the stuff you want from a movie like this. It's not as nearly as good as some of the other stuff. I don't think it has the same emotional resonance as a Wonder Woman in the 40s, but I still think it's really good. It's schlucky, it's flimsy, but it's meant to be that. You're not supposed to watch this and be like, man, I can't believe this is they got like a magic stone and they wish for all their stuff to happen. Like, yeah, what do you think the 80s were? It's just a bunch of shit like this. So it worked. I don't have any complaints about that. Like, there's weird stuff that happened in the movie. Tonally, it's all over the place. It doesn't know if it loves humanity or is trying to tell you the truth in humanity, but it all flows together in a way that's all right. I don't think anybody's going to walk away from this being like, well, that was executed poorly. And if you are, you're cynical, because at every turn, this movie makes you smile. It's trying to literally tell you a fun story that's interesting. A lot of cool callbacks to stuff in the Wonder Woman lore. I liked seeing that a lot too. That was really enjoyable, especially if you are a fan of that character. But everything else there's not much else to do. It's an 80s movie. It feels like an 80s movie. It's an homage to Richard Donner. It's an homage to Sam Raimi. You're going to like it for that, and if you don't, then you're cynical too. And Wonder Woman's happy in it. That's all I can say. Like, it's just nice to see Gal Gadot as Diana Prince actually enjoying herself and seeing that there's something to save in man's world 40 years after the events of the first movie. I really like that. I really like it. It's just a nice, simple movie. It's not gonna oversaturate the market and be like something that every movie is gonna mimic, because I can guarantee you, going forward in our storytelling for superheroes of any kind, Marvel, DC, Image, whatever you want to do, we will never get another movie like this moving forward, because it's trying to be a movie of the past. And that's pretty cool. I applaud it for that, sincerely. So Wonder Woman 84, they don't call her Wonder Woman in the movie at all. That's weird to me. I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.